Do you feel sometimes that it's very hard to make a decision? You feel it's easier just not to decide anything and then hopefully it's going to go away? Well, let's see if I can talk with you today about decision-making process. And it is from a person called Richard Mickman. I was watching a video on interviews for CEOs and CFOs and high executive officers. And he came up with an 8-step on how to make decision. And I thought it was a great idea, and I'm going to share that with you today. Welcome to my channel. My name is Alain Faber, and the goal of this channel is to make sure that you realize that by learning new skills, you'll make the world a better place, because only in learning can you have a growth mindset. So most of us, every day, we have to make decisions. We have to make decisions, we have to negotiate what we want. And at the end of the day, when we make decisions, we make short decisions and we make quick decisions, we can make the world a better place. Because if we decide not to decide anything, what happens is we stay on a standstill and we're not moving forward. The problem is, how can we actually make decisions that make sense and that we don't regret? Well, keep in mind that making decisions can lead to success, but sometimes can lead to little failures, and that's okay. That's part of learning. I know that sometimes there's some individual, for example, that they prefer not to make any decisions, because if they don't make decisions, they cannot fail. They cannot fail because they haven't set their mind into doing something. Students do that in high school, where they decide not to hand in a project. People in a large industry may do that, because if they don't make the decision to do something and they let it open, then they may hope that someone else will pick up the slack, or they hope that the thing that we have to do will go away. Now, that is quite difficult. For the same reason, I love Mel Robbins' 5-second rule, because if you want to do something or to make a decision, you can use the 5-second rule. For example, when should I do a video today to post on my YouTube channel? Well, I'm going to start, I don't know, I have this and that. Well, I could say 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and make a decision to do it right now, or to put it in my agenda saying I'm going to do it at 4 o'clock this afternoon. That's making a decision, and it is moving forward. Because keep in mind that once you decide something, you'll be able to open the door to making new decisions, and that's how we progress. So I have here the 8-step from Richard Mickman on the decision-making process. So I'm going to list them on the side, then on this side or this side, the 8 steps to make decision. So let's see. The first one is to identify what the problem is. Once you come up with a situation, or there's an issue, or there's something you want to do, you identify what the situation is. It's important, because once you identify the situation, you can therefore start focusing what you're going to do next. The other part is to gather information. Now, you're going to gather information about your surrounding. You're going to ask relevant people. You're going to ask your family member. You're going to ask your boss, your employees, all the information related to the issue, so that you can understand better what the situation is all about. The third step of decision making is to assess the information. Now, it's important to assess the information because you need to realize that not all information is the same. You have to consider that there are different perspectives on the situation, and therefore assessing it is important. Now, you may want to do that in a team, because when you assess information, don't forget that you're assessing with respect to your own perspective. But if you are in a position to make decisions, the chances are that you deserve the position and that you can actually make relevant decisions for your organization. The other one is, so once you identify the situation, you gather the information, you assess the information available, and you can get more information if needed. What you can do at that time is to look at the options that are available. The options available, there's never one option. there's some easy options, there's some harder options, that's some that will require a lot of changes, others that will that could not actually make the situation better. So you have to look at all possible options, and you have to be upright. You have to be outright. I forget the word. You need to be. You need to talk to yourself honestly. There you go, so that you can realize all possible options. Now, when you look at the options, you have to look at the fifth part of a decision-making process, and it's to look at the risk factor. Is that what I have here? It's called the risk assessment. The risk assessment is important because once you look at all the options, some options may be viable. However, the outcome will not resolve the situation, or the outcome could cost way too much money and beyond what resources you have. So the risk assessment is important here. So you always look at the original question. Once you have the risk assessment, here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The sixth part is to look at the impact. Now you have all the options available. You look at the risk assessment of all of them, and then you have to look at the impact. Would a decision you take have the impact you're looking for related to the situations you want? That's important. And once you have assessed all possible options, the risk assessment, the impact it can do, then you take action. That means that you make a decision based on all the information you've gathered based on your experience and based on the best you can offer. At some point, we have to take action. And once you've taken action, you need, at the end, for the eighth part, is to review. You need to review the situation based on the options you decided, based on the risk assessment you thought would happen, and based on the impact it would have. It's important because you may make a decision, and given enough time, you'll see that was the best decision ever. Or you could decide that after a few days, few weeks, few months, that the decision was a good one. But you need to tweak it a little bit because you had not noticed something, or information was missing, and you can realign your decision so that you can see new possible options or new opportunities. That's important too. And the other part of your viewing is to learn as well. As a CEO, as a president as the head of a family, you need to review and learn from the experience. Because if you don't realize that you're learning and you're not focusing on the fact that, well, I knew everything I had to know, or I need some more training, you need to learn because new information may come up, new problems may come up, and therefore reviewing includes your decision, but also learning to make sure that the next time it happens that you have to resolve a situation, you can do that. So let's see if we can review the eighth part, or the eight steps of a decision-making process. So you identify the situation, you gather all the information, you assess the information you need, you look at the options available, you look at the risk assessment about the different options that you have, as well as the impact that the decisions that you make could do. Then you take action, because once you've realized that, you need to take action, because if you don't take action, the initial situation will not get resolved, and people are counting on you to take care of that. And at the end, you review. You review because you need to know what you did well, what you need to work on, and what you need to learn from the experience. My call to action for you will be the following. I want you to take a decision that you've had to do this week that you haven't taken action on yet, for all kind of reasons. Either you did not have time, you did not want to face this situation, and I want you to see if you can apply the 8 decision-making process you can do here. Because you'll see that if you do it logically, your emotion will be part of the decision, but you'll notice that you'll be able, on top of your emotions, to do what's best for you and others. you'll be able to have a process. And you know what? When you have to make a decision, having a process is quite important because a process becomes a skill. And I mentioned many times that when you learn a new skill, you can do more to make the world a better place. And using decision-making process will help you to make decisions faster, make decisions with the right information and all the information you can find, assess the options and the impact of the possible options you've got. And when you take action, you'll be able to feel good about taking the action. Because the idea is once you feel good about taking an action, you'll notice that the second time you have to do it, it will be easier. Then the third time it will be easier, and so on. And that is how we make the world a better place. I'm gonna put on this side a link to my playlist for the video on my best life journey. So you can realize that there's so much we can learn, so much we can get from learning so we can make the world a better place. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.